Welcome, everybody, to our call tonight. Thanks for taking the time out of your evening to be on with us. So we're dedicating tonight to doTERRA's new nutrition line. This new product line was released in early January, right away in 2021. And honestly, I think in just a few short months, it's had a really positive response. The nutrition line, if just like a super brief overview, it's got 5 products. We're going to talk about the 5 products in there. There's a greens powder, a fiber powder, and proteins as well, right? There are 3 kinds of proteins, so we'll cover each one of those. And I have to say that I think the prices are super reasonable, especially as I've been doing some looking at comparisons. So like greens, $28.50 gets you 30 servings. Fiber, my favorite, hands down my favorite, $20.75 gets you 30 servings. And the proteins are all $39.50, and that gets you 20 servings. So in our time tonight, we're going to take a deeper dive into like the reason behind each product, what's in them, some great recipes. And we also want to do some comparisons to show like how does doTERRA stand up to similar products. All right. So feel free to ask your questions in the chat box. We'll take some at the end for questions too. Some common questions that I've been asked that I know people are asking that we're going to work to cover in our time together. Like, is it okay to put your proteins, greens, and fiber all in one drink? Are there other health benefits if you keep them separate? Are the new products appropriate for kids of all ages? What time of day? Like, when do I take them? And what are some of the best uses? So we're going to talk about that, and you're going to get to hear from some really great leaders. And I think I'm speaking for them. I realize we are all learning about these products, just like you. Okay. So we're learning, we're figuring them out, we're incorporating them, but we're just kind of doing this together with you, which is part of the fun of it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to kick it right over to Jerry.
Okay. So talking about fiber, and we know that people of all ages, from the littles all the way up to the seniors, can have challenges with good movement through their body. And what really helps that is fiber. And nowadays, there's a lot of emphasis placed on the high protein, low carb diets. Well, that really does challenge our fiber intake, right? Because we're not getting the grains and the fruits, so that even with a healthy diet, most people just get half of the amount of the fiber that they need, which creates potential insufficiencies and health issues. So we know that a high fiber diet normalizes the bowel movement, helps maintain healthy bowel, lowering the risk of colorectal cancer, right? And it lowers cholesterol levels by lowering the lipoprotein levels. So that's your bad cholesterol. And then it might reduce your blood pressure and internal inflammation, and it helps control the blood sugar because it slows down the absorption of the sugar into our bloodstream. And then it also helps us to achieve a healthy weight because it fills us up. So moving to the next slide. Okay, so why doTERRA fiber? Well, doTERRA fiber has I love this product. It tastes great. I mean, I just add it to water by itself, but you can mix it. And we'll talk about that as we get into the presentation more. So it's got that lemon apple flavor. The texture it's not super grainy, and it gives us the soluble and the insoluble. So the soluble fiber is the part that helps with, lowering the bad cholesterol in that. And then the insoluble fiber helps to bulk things up and keep things moving smoothly. It's sourced from all natural whole foods. There's no added sugars, and it's got the CPTG, our lemon oil in there, which is a great cleansing agent, and also high potency vitamin C. And then, as it says, it includes powerful prebiotic blend, which is great because it helps to support the good bacteria in our intestinal tract. So what supplements can't you take with fiber? And so what is suggested is not your EO omega. So anything with your fatty essential oils in it, because what this fiber supplement can do is it helps to sweep things through our system, which is why you want to take it on an empty stomach. So what is suggested is, I also want to mention that if you don't have enough fiber, Did you know that as you're excreting waste from your liver, you can actually reabsorb it back into your system? So like your cholesterol and the estrogens that you want to get out of your body, you can reabsorb it back in if you don't have enough fiber. So what you want to do then is not take your EO-omegas with the fiber and wait a couple of hours. So the best time is to take it on an empty stomach. And what Laura Jacobs, who she was sharing a lot of good information, what she does is first thing in the morning, she takes, starts out with about 8 to 12 ounces of water with some lemon oil. And then she takes up to 24 ounces of water first thing in the morning. And then she does her fiber. And then you can actually add it to a juice. She adds it to her morning veggie fruit juice. I do a different kind of juice, but everybody's got, some people do smoothies, but you want to put that fiber in there first with either water or the juice, and then wait a couple of hours and then take the rest of your, like your EO-omega supplements. So this is the recipe she uses. And then this ginger lemon concentrate, if you're really interested in learning about that, we can get that recipe to you. And that is it. I'm not sure who's doing greens.
You're good. Thank you, Jerry. Lindsay's up next.
I just had to unmute myself. Okay, so Katie, I'm going to specifically talk to you in a little bit because you put something into the chats. But for specifically why greens, it is a fresh whole food diet that can be expensive and prep time can be consuming. So by using the doTERRA greens, you are helping both of those scenarios. Less than 1 out of every 3 adults eats the recommended amount of fruit per day, even with the best of intentions. It just, that's how it works. And even the fruits that they do take aren't necessarily the nutritional value that they once were. Over 70% don't meet guidelines for vegetable consumption. I brought out my bag and it looks like I haven't used it only because I bought 2. So one is in a friendly container that I can scoop out of, and then I have my backup. But I did want to point out here that the ingredients are kale, alfalfa, wheatgrass, dandelion, spinach, parsley, oatgrass, barley grass, broccoli, cabbage, collard greens, a word that I can't, it's a plant, but it's moringa and noni fruit, mangosteen, goji berry, pineapple, mango, guava, acerola cherry, and lemon oil and ginger oil. So that's amazing. But it's an exclusive mix of nutrient-dense superfoods and fruits and greens in a convenient and tasty way. Provides the body with essential nutrients and dietary fiber too. And you only need 1 scoop. And you could do it just once a day. It's 30 servings, so it'll get you through an entire month. If you're using it like I'm using it, you can use more than that in a day, and we'll get to that in just a second. But it includes 1 to 2 each of those single scoops includes 1 to 2 servings of fruit and vegetables for your daily allowance. And it has lemon and ginger essential oils. So with that, I wanted to ask a leading question and do a pop quiz. But if you were on a nutritional kick and you could take something that helped with confidence, focus, clarity, positivity, being energized, making you joyful, empowering you, giving you responsibility and the feeling of being committed, capable, purposeful, accountable, there are 2 oils that would help serve that purpose. And that would be lemon. And anyone know the other one? Ginger. Yes, I saw people mouthing it. So both of those oils help with all of those emotional benefits, and they are in the greens. So that is something that's super wonderful to add the emotional side of our nutritional supplements. And I personally love them. The reason that I use these, I will show you in just a moment, but I do want to point out that they're responsibly sourced, intentionally chosen, wholesome and nourishing ingredients that supply the body with highly bioavailable phytonutrients and antioxidant materials. And then we're going to get to some recipes, which Katie, this part's for you. So I am the queen of not making a recipe. So I'm going to tell you my non-recipes first, and then we'll talk about a recipe. So my non-recipes for the greens are add it into like sour cream for a veggie dip, or add it on to a cracker for like with cream cheese. You can add it into pastas, either cold or cooked, into flavor, which is wonderful because it has that lemon ginger flavor in addition to like a vegetable flavor, but it's sweeter, if that makes any sense. You could add it into a pizza sauce. You could add it into your dressing. You could use this concentrate to make a dressing, but you can just add it to your dressing. You can add it to water. You can add it to a smoothie. You can add it to baked goods, which is great for me and my children. And so my favorite is to put it in our brownie mix, and my kids have no idea. And then lastly, here's an actual recipe for you. So if you want to make a concentrate that has many uses, you would use 10 lemons, you would use 1.5 pounds of ginger root, you would follow the instructions that are here, and you would basically make a concentrate that can then be, even if you wanted to add honey to that, and it would give you all of those benefits that I mentioned with lemon and ginger, those emotional benefits, aside from the cleansing powers of lemon and ginger. And you can use that to add as like a dressing. And then if Amy wanted to slip to the next slide, you can add that concentrate to your greens and add it as a drink. So that's my recipe, an actual recipe for the greens. And like Amy mentioned before, it is $28.50 for wholesale pricing. And I feel like it's the hardest sell because greens are unsung heroes, but also because it's currently unavailable. So you are going to want this for all the reasons that you need to stay committed and accountable for a nutrition line. But I hope that they come back in real soon.
Me too. Thanks, Linz. That was amazing. Okay, Laura, whip.
Forgot to unmute myself. I get to talk about proteins, and that's one of my top 3 favorite parts of this nutrition line. That was a joke because there's only 3 parts. So I really do love the proteins though. Proteins come from amino acids, and they're the essential building blocks for everything in the body, from your tissues to your muscles to your cells, and to the catalysts, which are enzymes that help do all of your biologic processes. They're behind every chemical reaction, from a healthy immune response to tissue repair to managing gene expression. And there are 3 different types of protein. There's the chocolate, which is whey based, the vanilla, also whey based, and then the vegan protein. So I just want to talk a little bit further about the proteins themselves. You can go to the next slide, Amy. So protein in doTERRA's nutrition comes from whey, which whey is just proteins and that come from cow's milk. And the whey is the watery part of milk. And so if you think about your yogurt, and sometimes you get that watery layer on that floats on top of your yogurt, that is the whey. And whey is usually flavored. In doTERRA's case, it's chocolate or vanilla because it really doesn't have a very good taste all on its own. And then there's the vegan protein, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So it comes, doTERRA's protein is superb whey or whole food friendly vegan options in a convenient delivery system. And you get 21 or 22 grams of protein per serving. That's depending on whether you use the vegan or you use the whey protein. It's very high in fiber all by itself. So combined with the fiber, you're getting over half of your daily recommended allowance of fiber just by putting, using the protein and then using the fiber option. So fiber helps, like Jerry said, to curb hunger, control appetite, improve satiation, and maintain optimal blood sugar levels. This is really important to me, this next part. It's non-GMO, which means it's not genetically manufactured. It's gluten-free, it's soy-free, and it's RBST hormone-free. And you've heard of the bovine growth hormones. Well, RBST is recombinant somatotropin, and it's a bovine growth hormone that is genetically engineered. And so, of course, doTERRA does not have the protein does not have that. There's also no added sugar in any of the proteins. The chocolate and vanilla have 1 gram of natural sugar. There's no added sugar. And the vegan has absolutely no sugar in it. They're all natural flavors, and the sweetener is monk fruit and stevia. So they're nutritionally complete, they're well balanced, and the amino acid profile helps increase your stamina, support your muscle growth and recovery, enhance energy production, and support proper cell function. And I just want to say that the doTERRA's vegan protein comes from plants. We talked about the other proteins coming from whey. doTERRA's vegan protein comes from plants, and these are the plants that are included in the vegan protein: peas, brown rice, pumpkin seed, flax seed, and sacha inchi. And sacha inchi is a plant that produces seeds that are rich in the omega-3s and omega-6s. And it's also known as the jungle peanut. And to me, all of those sound really good. And I have tried the vegan protein, and I really do like it. I'm surprised that I like it, but I really do like it. So let's move on to recipes. So here are some recipes that you could try. You could include the greens and the protein together along with some vegetables and fruits. They're suggesting blueberries and kale. Put a drop of cinnamon in there, add a couple ice cubes and some almond milk, and you have a really good smoothie. With the chocolate protein, you could try peanut butter or any other kind of nut butter. And again, a couple of ice cubes and some almond milk or any other milk of your choosing. Let's go on to the next slide. So back again to vanilla. Bananas are really good with vanilla, and this one suggests cherries, a drop of wild orange. And then on the bottom, you have a banana with either protein, any of the three. So banana strawberry smoothie, and that again, you can make with almond milk or any other milk and a couple of ice cubes. This sounds super good to me. I have not tried it, but it's basically a smoothie bowl. So you're gonna add ingredients to the blender, and you're gonna make it really nice and creamy and smooth and thick. And then you're gonna put it in a bowl and add some toppings to it, like some more fresh berries, some shredded coconut, some slices of banana, seeds or nuts or seeds. I got that messed up. Or granola or whatever sounds good to you. But that really looks really attractive and just scrumptious to me. And I can't wait to try that one. And then here's just my 3-in-1 recipe. And with the other recipes and with this one too, one of the things that you can do is add avocado because it's a really good fat. And when you have a good fat, it coats your mouth and it coats your throat going down, and it makes you really feel like you're being well fed and you're being treated to something really just delicious. And so adding avocado can be really good for any of the recipes. And you could even add some cocoa powder to any of your smoothies. If you want a little bit of sweetness, you could add some chopped up dates or a small squeeze of local raw honey. So in my recipe, I do this mid-morning, and Jerry talked a little bit about this, about how it's important to do your fiber on an empty stomach. So I don't eat anything before I do this, but I do have a cup of hot water with lemon in it right away first thing in the morning. So what I do, because I love to get my water in, and you're going to have a quart of water under your belt after you drink this smoothie. So in a quart jar, you can put almond milk and water, or you can put all water. I put in 1 scoop of the protein, 1 scoop of the fiber, and 1 scoop of the greens, which is the daily recommended amounts for each of those. And then whatever oil you like, 1 to 2 drops. I love peppermint, which is really good when I use the chocolate protein. I love wild orange or any citrus with the vanilla protein. And I love putting in the lemon and ginger because it mirrors the flavor of the greens. And some other options of what you could put in is a drop of turmeric or spearmint, cinnamon, clove, cardamom, or coriander. All of those are really good choices. And I think that they are especially good with the vanilla or the vegan, which is vanilla flavored. And so what I do is I just stick my immersion blender right into that quart jar and I just blend away. I have fewer dirty dishes, which I love. Or you can pour it into a blender, add a couple of ice cubes if you want. You're going to get 32 ounces of water in this concoction. You can eliminate the almond milk and go all water, or you can add some Greek yogurt to it, and you can even add fruit. But as far as my recipe goes, because I'm putting the fiber and the greens into my smoothie, you don't really need any added fruit. It's in there already.
I want to try that recipe. Okay. Thanks, Laura Whip. We're going to talk a little bit more about the vegan protein with Em in just a second, but this is where I just want to take a little bit of time to see like how doTERRA measures up, right? Like what is this, how does this protein and fiber and greens, how do they really do? And I just have to give credit for this portion of the presentation to Rachel Loth. This info, we're going to be looking at some really specific screenshots of charts that she's put together that are genius, brilliant, really well done. She has them on her blog. She did amazing work on this. Really, honestly, what she did is she Googled like any name she could think of and also got recommendations from her team and checked out the ingredients and price point and made these charts. So we don't typically talk about other companies when we're like educating on doTERRA products. It's always just about doTERRA. That's like very important to us. It's very true of what we do. And I kind of would like to address the fact that we're actually talking like specifically even about products from different companies because my hope is that you wouldn't hear us like talking down or bashing. My hope is that at this point, we've had enough back and forth for you to understand that like by the end of this conversation, I would just want you to feel confidence in using the products that doTERRA has given us and to feel really good about reaching for them and incorporating them into your routine. Okay. So we're going to start with a whey protein comparison first and look at a couple different companies. Okay. So we're going to look, here's a chart about Shakeology first. Okay. I didn't realize this, but a bag of Shakeology is like $130. Now, I think that this might be, I think once you're a coach, you know, there's like different, right? But I was like, I had to really think about that. And to be totally fair, it's not just a protein powder, there's more in there, but it's still expensive. You can see how there's more carbs. The net carbs, you know, some of you might be familiar with that, but you're going to take, you know, carbs minus fiber is going to give you your net carbs. So there's significantly more carbs in the Shakeology. There's more sugar, not as much protein. So just something to consider. And as we're kind of looking at that, you can see how it's sweetened in different sources. But at $1.98 versus $4.33 per serving, I think that's pretty significant. Okay. Here's a comparison to Plexus. And again, you're going to see here that Plexus has more carbs, it has more sugar, it has less protein, it's more per serving. They do use coconut sugar. That's definitely a better choice than regular sugar. It does still spike your blood sugar more than monk fruit would, which is what doTERRA is using. But you can kind of look here at how it measures up. Okay. Isogenics. Okay. So This one is actually much higher in carbs. I thought that was interesting. If you think about somebody, if you are somebody or you know somebody who has to really watch their blood sugar, that's a really big chunk of carbs right there. It has a big impact on blood sugar. 10 grams of sugar. And if you look at the source, that's from fructose. It could be fruit sugar, depends on the source, but you have to be careful of sourcing on something like that, and it will spike your blood sugar fast and it will drop you down. Laura Jacobs joked that you could take a whole bottle of Slim and Sassy with this if you take this. I'm just kidding. But there are two different like proteins that I think Isogenic offers. See how it changes from just the isolene shake to the whole blend. And so again, you're still going to see more carbs, more sugar. You do see more protein. It's more expensive per serving. When you're looking down at these little checks, you'll notice that one is talking about pasture-fed cows, right? And using hormone-free whey. And there's a difference between those two things and considering that. And just wanting to make sure you're avoiding hormones, right? Because if we're taking something from somebody that's been having hormones, that's affecting us too. And not being certified gluten-free, you're going to see that on some of these products that we're comparing to, which for some people might not be a big deal. But if you are celiac, it really does matter if it's certified gluten-free. That's going to make a really big difference. Herbalife, again, more carbs. Same amount of sugar. We're going to look at that sugar. Do you see the source there? Splenda and corn syrup. And it does have less protein. It's more expensive per serving. But Splenda is an artificial sweetener, right? It's a chemical sweetener essentially. And there's also, I don't know if you can see it on here. I'm trying to think of where it is, but artificial flavors is mentioned, soy as a protein source, and then it's not non-GMO. Do you guys notice how it doesn't have the check for non-GMO? So that's not non-GMO soy that protein source is coming from. And so that's something to be really cautious of. Okay, take a break from the vanilla whey protein. You've gotten a chance to see how the doTERRA's whey protein, how it stacks up. Let's talk just for a minute about vegan protein. And before we do that, Emma's going to talk to us just a little bit about doTERRA's plant protein.
Okay, so I just want to highlight a few things. Laura Whip covered most of this, which is perfect because honestly, she's way better at it than I am. She went into way more detail, so you got even more info. So yeah, really, so my family, we're vegan, and so I was super glad that they came out with a plant protein. So we really enjoy it. So the protein comes from pea protein, brown rice, pumpkin seeds, and oats. So really kind of think of it more as like plant-based. The more plants you can get into your body, the better. And so as you can fuel your body, if it can come from a plant source, even better. So the flaxseed in here, this is a key component here because you're getting extra omega-3s, which we need for brain health. Flaxseed is one of those things that, it's kind of like that superfood and you see it in a lot of ingredients now. But flaxseed, like whole flax seeds, your body actually can't absorb, like it can't break down the seed. So it's important that it's actually ground down before you take it. Otherwise it kind of just passes through your body. You're getting 7 grams of fiber in addition to protein. There's no added sugar, like we said, sweetened with that monk fruit instead. And I really love this see for yourself. So doTERRA, if you go to doTERRA.com, look up the vegan protein, there's a part there that says key studies, and it's like 4 pages listed of studies that why they chose these ingredients for the protein. And I love that because like we've talked about, anyone can make a freaking protein powder, evidently, right? But to be like, hey, here's the studies about why we chose these ingredients, that's really meaningful to me. So I like that they list all that. So go ahead and check that out too. And this is one of our favorite recipes. So I saw, Laura, you posted a couple recipes without banana. And I'm like, people make smoothies without banana. You kind of blew my mind. So this one, frozen banana, this is totally made up, like proportions or, I don't know. This is a total guess, about half a cup, 2 cups. I don't know. I know I'm kind of like, I'm totally with Amy. So if this doesn't turn out, my apologies, but I think it's pretty close to what we do. So frozen banana, half a cup frozen cherries, or just like shake it in a little bit. Almond milk, or you can use oat milk if you like it a little bit sweeter. A handful of spinach, use some greens in there. And then I like to add in hemp hearts too for extra omegas as well. And then I do a half a scoop of the vegan protein personally. I think that like complements the cherries and the banana really well without like overpowering it. And so that's kind of our like go-to recipe for the morning.
Thanks. That sounds good. You're also like 80 pounds, so you could probably get away with a half scoop.
Okay.
Smallest person I've ever met. Okay, so let's see a little bit like how does doTERRA's vegan protein stack up to some competition. So we're actually going to look at Juice Plus here first. You're going to see that they have significantly more carbs, a lot of sugar. You're going from 0 grams to 10 grams and not as much protein. Soy is their source of protein, but I would just like to point out that it's non-GMO at least. And so I would like to give them a bonus point for that. But you can kind of see what that looks like and how that stacks up. Okay. Plexus, again, more carbs, more sugar, less protein. I think there's like a good variety there on the protein source. That's great. And you'll see that they've got coconut sugar. I think that's good, but still gluten-free, but not certified. So some different challenges there. I just quickly want to say about doTERRA's choice for monk fruit in their sweetener. I am not necessarily like a monk fruit connoisseur. I think some people have tried to do some really interesting things with monk fruit in their home, I'm finding out, but apparently there's a really weird aftertaste to monk fruit. And so people, when these were announced, were like, ugh, monk fruit. And then we all got it. And there isn't that there. I would not say that there is a weird aftertaste to this, that they did monk fruit well. And that's part of what we appreciate about doTERRA, that they figured that stuff out for us. Okay. Truvani's kind of like the new kid on the block, I guess. I don't pay a lot of attention to that, but they're like the closest. You can kind of see there. They've got similar net carbs, low sugar, similar protein. But I guess somebody has like, that I was learning from tried this and they just said it's like incredibly oversweetened. Like it was so sweet. She had a really hard time. Fiber was lacking. And then the one thing is that if you choose to eat grain-free, Truvani is grain-free. You can see how pea, pumpkin, and chia are the protein sources. So I thought that was interesting if you can't tolerate grains. Herbalife. So you're going to save 23 cents, but it's going to come at a cost. More sugar, more carbs. I'm just about the same amount of impressed as their protein powder here. Fructose, again, there's synthetic vitamins added to it, like to try and make it sound better, C, D, etc. But they're synthetic forms. So you're paying for things that your body can't absorb. It's just going to pass through. So just take your LLV and use your doTERRA protein. And I think then the last one is back to Shakeology. And again, I just think you can see pretty much over and over again across the board that like doTERRA stacks up really well. And I wouldn't know that had I not really looked at this. So again, thanks for humoring us at like looking like critically through different products and product lines. But I really appreciate the comparison. I hope it was helpful to you too. So if we come back to common questions here, let's see if we answered most of these fairly well. So is it okay to put them all in one shake? Yes, we shared some recipes. The Smoothie Bowl did it. Laura Whipperman has a great recipe with it. So is it doable? Yes. We give you some different ways that you can do that. Are there different health benefits if you keep them separate? Yeah, that's fine. You can totally do it that way. I hope you found some different ideas for times of day or ways that you can incorporate those products and how that would work. Are these products appropriate for kids of all ages? I would say yes. I think that I've enjoyed using them with our girls, and maybe 2 and no, she's not 2. Gary's just said 30 minutes ago, you're going to be 2 and 6 this year. Okay. 1 and 5. They aren't doing a full scoop at their age, but they will be sipping out of and consuming things that I'm making or doing, it's probably not in the full scoop amount, but do you guys do you know how many kids cannot have a bowel movement. Do you realize how much this is a thing? It's a thing. Lindsay King is looking up a little bit. And to be able to say to like a mom, I realize that sometimes that's an issue for all ages, but like, oh my gosh, fiber, like let's help them get some of this. So I would adjust the dosage, but I think it's great. Okay. Greens are also a good way to support constipation. So don't rule that one out too. We talked about time of day, how to do that, and best uses. Okay. So if there are other questions, you can be putting them in the chat box now. And my mom is going to talk a little bit about these things here. We hope.
So doTERRA has a Nutrition Line Cookbook with some really awesome recipes in it. And you can see if this lady can do it in the picture, any of us can do it. Do we have the next slide for us?
Yeah, I'll put the link to the cookbook in the chat box.
Okay. So yeah, oh, okay, so that's it. And so yeah, watch for the link in the chat box. But this is where I'm really excited about these sample packs. We started offering this at the beginning of January, and you can see the Google form link at the bottom of the screen. So what we do is for $10, I will send out to you a sample pack of greens, fiber, and then you get to choose one of the proteins. So we have made labels and insert cards that we put in there that tell you exactly what's in it. It's like reading the label, right? There's no mystery. You know exactly what it is. So you fill out that form and I will get you a sample of those. I will drop it in the mail to you as soon as you drop the $10 to us via either PayPal or Venmo. So I am, just a little disclaimer, I'm heading out of town at the end of this week for about 10 days. So if you want to do this, do it soon. And if it doesn't come right away, it's because I'm MIA. But I will get right back to it. And I think sampling these is a really great way to see for yourself the quality, the flavor. Use one of the recipes that you learned tonight. It's just a win-win. Why not? Give it a try.
Awesome. I'm putting, so the link to the cookbook is in the chat box, as well as the link to the sample pack if you want to request one of those and try those. Okay. Are there questions, or is there anything else that we missed? There were some good questions. People might want to save the chat box because they were answered in the chat about like what's being discontinued, what's not, different things like that.
Not a question, but I was going to just put in a plug. If any of you are with loved ones or friends who have a strong gag reflex, I wanted to just pour my heart out to you and say, I of course don't know what that's about. My mom is just going to pretend to not listen to this part, but I really love this line because the texture is really smooth for people who tend to have a texture issue. So I appreciate that. And every single one of these products that was talked about on tonight's call can be added into food if adding it into a beverage is not your cup of tea. So you can get the benefits by putting it that way. So I just wanted to throw that out there because sometimes that's a deal breaker for me in the past and for my kids. And I just wanted to throw that out there as another option for you. Like I said, I'm not a recipe person, but I can add these all into things, and I have no issue with the texture in a beverage as well. So.
I've heard them referred to as like the true essence of fast food. Like you mix it with water, you shake it and you go, and like think of like the quality of what you're getting. I'm totally ratting out Em. She thinks the fiber is chalky, and I just I'm going to put her on display because I think it matters how you, like if you're feeling that, like a tool makes a big difference. Like we've talked about, somebody talked about an immersion blender. I have an old protein shaker with that silly ball in it that I shake around and it seems to help. So I think that the way that you're preparing it can make a huge difference, especially Mama might come steal your little thing, or Laura Whipperman seems to have one, right? Will make a really big difference if you're feeling like that's an issue. And when Lynn's right, you can add it into just about anything.
I will say, I think too, to put a little bit of water in the bottom of your glass first, and then put your powder in and mix it up a little bit, and then top it off with the water is going to make a big difference. And especially with the fiber, you don't want to leave it sitting for a long time. You want to drink that right up. Laura Whipperman, I'm just trying to imagine Laura drinking like 40 ounces of water in one swallow. I'm like feeling a little frantic at the thought.
Pound it. Yeah, it's so great. It's so great. My mom did that in her years. I've never done that, and I've really wanted to be able to cheer that for somebody. So I feel like it would be good.
Thanks for that, Abe.
You didn't know me in college. See? Come on. No,
I just need to like channel Bob Werner and open up my throat and swallow the fiber. That was the fastest I've ever seen a human drink anything, was Bob drinking the fiber. So I'll just think of him next time.
Oh my gosh. All right, everybody. Fun hilarity. Last thing I'm putting in the chat box this Saturday is stress, sleep, and emotions for our CE class. Laura Whipperman and Lindsay King are tackling that one. They are a fabulous teaching duo. If you didn't catch that tonight, then catch them again and hear how amazing they are on Saturday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. BOGA week. Go have fun. Grab what you need. Let us know what we can do to help. All right. Bye, everybody.